Numbers 23:19 says, God is not like man that he should lie. Obviously, here, the author Moses sees that one of the things that makes humans humans is that they lie. You might say, well, I don't, or I never have, or I never will. But the idea here is that humans have the ability to misrepresent the truth, to plant seeds in someone else's mind that cause fruit to grow on it that doesn't actually exist. And so there's different types of lying. There's just straight up lying. The sky is red, when you know, in fact, it's blue. But a lie is saying something that's not true when you know it's not true. It's different than being wrong. We're all wrong from time to time with certainty. There's another thing to lie when you know, to say something's not true when you know, in fact, that it is not true, or to say something is true when you know, in fact, that it's false. And so why do we do that? Why does it happen? Why do our children do that? Well, most basically, it's about control. It's about manipulation. It's about devaluing the other person and deciding that they are an instrument in your well-being, not a human to be respected. There's a book I read a while ago. It's a 2-part series. The first book is called On Bullshit, and the second part is called On Truth by a guy named Harry Frankfurt. They're short little books. And he talks about what is bullshit. And he says, well, what it is it's actually disregard for the truth. It's about controlling the outcome. The liar misrepresents reality because he's trying to protect some image about himself, but he knows what the truth is and he's trying to conceal it for some reason. The truth teller knows what the truth is and is fine with disclosing it. So the liar is still preoccupied with truth. They're just preoccupied with eliminating the truth or concealing the truth, whereas the bullshitters doesn't even have a relationship with truth. They're just kind of saying what they need to say to get the outcome that they want. In his book on truth, he goes on to reflect more deeply about the nature of lying and why it is so destructive to societies, destructive to households, destructive to friendships. And it's most basically this, that lying creates insanity in another person. So what he means by that is this: insanity is believing or living in not reality. An insane person doesn't live in reality. And so when someone lies to you and you believe those lies, you now live in not reality. You're, in a sense and to a degree, insane. And that's part of why when people lie to us, why it's so offensive and so harmful and so disorienting, is because you go, it's like I don't even know you. I've been living in non-reality for a while. And it's the deepest breach of trust that you can have with someone is to make them crazy, to make them a little bit insane. And so lying does that. It creates insanity in another person. And so the first thing to recognize about the origin of lying is it's outcome oriented. It's desiring to control a situation for the purpose of some type of selfish gain. The second thing is it's devaluing the other person. It's deciding you're not important. You are a tool or an instrument in my desired outcome. And so there's two sins involved in lying. One, it's like the dehumanization of the other, and the other one is the desire to be in the position of God to control reality, to desire omnipotence. And so if we're going to deal with lying, we have to deal with both of those horizons. One is your view of people is that they are too small. It's kind of ends up being a soft narcissism where you're going, I take myself way more seriously than I take other people. The other one is this shameful hiddenness. And this is really rooted in insecurity, this belief that if the truth comes out, I'll be broken. If the truth comes out, things will not be the same. If the truth comes out, I'll be unrepairable. And there may be things that are unrepairable if the truth does come out. If you get caught having had 10 affairs, that will wildly change the way that you live your life for the next season. But at the same time, as someone who believes that salvation is by grace alone, through faith alone, and that God works through all circumstances to bring about his glory, I know that there's a part of me that if I lose things when I bring forward the truth, will actually be good for me. And so there's this belief that I have to have security under the hand of the Father that makes me willing to not be preoccupied with concealing the truth. But there's also a part of me that has to see the image of God in somebody else. And so a man of integrity is someone who does not lie, who doesn't bullshit, who doesn't misrepresent reality, but a man who's integrated, meaning he allows congruence with who he is with reality, and he allows other people to be a part of that congruence. And so to be a man of integrity has everything to do with not lying, but also not like the subtle forms of lying that are misrepresenting. The fish was a foot long when it was really a 6 inches long, where it's not quite technically a lie, but it's an exaggeration. You trying to make people think something about you that's not true. That's really rooted in insecurity. And for a lot of people, the lying and the exaggerating will not stop until the insecurity problem is first addressed. And that's very much a gospel issue, an identity in Christ issue, an identity as a creature made by God issue. And so if you're prone to lying, exaggerating, misrepresenting, there's the insecurity thing there. There's also a disrespect thing there. You might need to do some work to figure that out. Also, if your kids are lying, misrepresenting to you, if your friends are noticing that, you might be an agent of grace in their life who can help them get to the deeper issues behind why they're trying to misrepresent reality and create insanity in you. So to be a truth people, the people who want to walk in the way of Christ, we must be people who are preoccupied, not just with not lying, but of being people who are in love with the truth. So men, get out there and be men of integrity.